This tank is the Lorraine 15551. This is a French Tier 8 SPG, and the map is Fjord. Now, this is a new map. It's from World of Tanks 1.0, so there have been some map changes. So I need to find new SPG positions, and this is going to show you one of the new positions that I was working on. From this position, you can hit the tanks that are in the E4 area. Normally, they think that they're artillery safe, but they're really not. Now, this is my first time playing in this position, so I had to do a little bit of scouting out to find a good position. But I did find a little gap over here, and it's not perfect. As you can see, I can hit the tanks in the northeast corner, which is where I'm aiming right now. You can look on the mini-map. I'm aiming for the B7 area. That E25 right there is a target for me. I wish I could hit him. He's so lucky. Now you notice that there's a Hellcat on the map, and he's at the E4 area. I'll be able to hit that Hellcat. Normally he would be artillery safe. And these tanks that are hiding behind those racks, I can hit those tanks also. I was too close to the house, which is why I'm reversing. Now there's two tanks right on the left there. They're not visible. This is obviously repositioning. Oh, okay. You'll notice that there's a new peninsula which goes out onto the water. And this is the peninsula. And look at where it is on the mini-map. There is some support. There's a new road on this center hill, and there is some artillery support on that new road. So I was too late to get the Hellcat. But this is going to be a very powerful position once I master it. So I got a kill with 335 damage on the Skoda T40. That guy's not safe. So I got 2 kills. I killed that E25. You can see that I do have the ability to hit tanks on that hill. But it's not, I don't have full coverage. I'm not in the best position to hit that tank. But it is possible. He's probably reloading right now, which is why he reversed. I hit him pretty good. Didn't get to see how much damage I did, but it was a good shot. Now, as that ISM travels, if he heads up that road, I'll be able to hit him the further he goes up the road. Scores 11-10. Now, at this point, obviously, I'm repositioning because I want to be able to hit the ISM. And there's buildings in front of me. Depending on what SPG you have, some of them have a higher arc, and the ones that have a higher arc will shoot over the buildings. The ones that don't, obviously, will not shoot over the building. Now, in this case, when you have an ISM that's in that position, the best thing to do would have been to return to base and to take shots at him from that area. Probably not going to be able to hit him. Oh, that was 297 damage. I got 900 total. Scores 14-10. Now that tank is just sitting there. It's a huge mistake for him. He should know he's a target for artillery. He's just going to get hit again and again. And that's the game. This tank is the Lorraine 155-51. It's a French Tier 8 SPG, and the map is Airfield. If you like to play SPG, you're going to want to watch this game. Look at where I'm heading. I'm on the east side. Look at the position that I'm heading to, and you're going to find this is a very powerful position right there on the map. Watch what I'm going to be able to do. You can see that I can hit tanks that are in this popular area for heavy tanks. And I'm testing around to see what I can hit. And you're going to see that this is a very flexible position. And there's a lot of different areas, popular areas, that you're going to be able to hit. So obviously you can hit tanks that are on their way to battle. You can hit tanks here in the south. Look at the mini-map. And you can see that even though we won in the south, I've got clear shots on that alley. Look at where I am on the mini-map. Look at the sniping position. We're going to get to it at some point. But this is where I'm checking out to see where I can hit. Here's the sniping position. If the Leopard weren't there, I was going to examine that sniping position. But notice that there's a sniping position to the left of the Leopard that tanks like to use, and I can hit those positions. And I can hit where, for example, the Tiger II is and the FV-215B-183, who I seem to recall I'm going to later kill in this game. So you've got clear shots over here, you've got clear shots in the south, you've got clear shots on the road, you've got clear shots on this sniping plateau. It's a very powerful position. And the enemy is going to win in the area where the heavy tanks like to play. You can, if you look at where the FV-215B is on the minimap, you're going to see what I'm talking about. And I'm going to be able to defend against that position also. So all these tanks are within my range. So you see where that FV, look at where he is, and you'll notice I can hit him also. And I'm checking the positions to see where I can hit. You got to measure with your aiming reticle. Landed a shot right on him. So if you've tried many different positions, you'll know that it's very difficult to find a position that lines up perfectly. I was able to find one finally for the east side. For the west side, I have the feeling that the J1 area is probably going to have similar advantages, but I haven't tried it out yet. Or at least I haven't tried it out knowing all the different possibilities. That was a sloppy shot. If you can use the food consumable, very important to use a food consumable to improve your aiming and your aim time. The reason why I'm not using the food consumable right now is because I'm trying to save money. I'm only using it when I'm trying to complete a mission. The current mission that I'm working on is SPG 15 War Gods for the Object 260. Have to do 3,500 stun damage and be #1 for experience for both teams. I was able to get 3,500 stun damage. but it was to complete a different mission, one of the other SPG missions, which was 3,000 stun damage. So it is possible. You can see that I can hit tanks in that little sniping plateau. I can protect against where that STRV is. I got 981 damage, 299 stun damage. That was not fully aimed, but luckily I got the hit. I got 1179 damage. So here's an example of a tank up on the plateau. I have a clear shot of him, and he's out of the game. I can defend if the FV tries to advance against my team. Take him out of the game. That's one kill. And the game's almost over. And that's the game. Yeah, this tank is the FV-3805. This is a British Tier 9 SPG, and the map is Karelia. Now, usually on this map, I try to line up in a certain area because I want to hit all those heavy tanks. I was working on a mission to do 3,000 stun damage, and I did complete the mission. It probably was not in this game, but you want to find areas where there's tanks that are grouped up, where you'll find 2 or 3 tanks grouped together. That was just a wild shot. You can see that me and the Object 261 are going to be in about the same position. And from here, what I'm able to do is I'm able to fire at the enemy tanks that are going to line up on the northern corner. There's 2 things you got to be wary about. Number 1, you don't want to get spotted. You see where this WZ is going? He could potentially spot me, so I got to watch out for that tank. You'll notice that the Object 261 is taking off early. You want to avoid being spotted, and number 2, if you don't have enough allies defending on that side, the enemy is going to overrun the position, and you got to be out of there as quickly as possible. The Object 261, he's going to go a lot further away than I am. He's going to move a lot faster. I'm going to be a little bit slower to get out of here, and one of the reasons why is because I like to fire my gun as much as possible. Normally what I do is as soon as I'm reloaded, I turn around and fire my gun, but this is a risky position right here because we have enemy tanks that are overrunning our positions on the east. There's going to be a lot of interesting shots in this game. So you can see that the enemy has pushed forward on the east side. We've only got a T-30 left defending, and I cannot safely remain in this position. You have to reposition your SPG based on what happens, changes on the front lines, or being able to line up shots, or keeping yourself alive in the game. You want to pay attention to what's going on in the game and move to safety as soon as you can. So you can see I was able to hit those 2 tanks. I got 4 damaging hits so far. Always aim for the front of the tank if it's moving forward. You know, you're going to try and aim to where you think the tank will be, and you have to estimate the amount of time it takes for the shot to get there. I'm relatively close to the enemy tank, so my shot's going to get there rather quickly. The Object 261, he's got twice the distance. His shot's going to take us twice as long to get there, so he has to give more leeway, more lead on his shot. Now the position I'm going to, this is basically where I'm going to stay for most of the remainder of the game. And same with the Object 261 will probably also stay in that position. We're going to play the remainder of the game from these positions as our team falls apart. But it's going to be an interesting game. Unfortunately, that shot was across the map. It was the full length of the map. And it wasn't aimed in completely, but it was mostly aimed in, so it perhaps didn't do any damage. When you play with an artillery, you want to make every shot count, especially if you like to use food consumables. I like to use food consumables with certain artillery units because it allows you to aim faster and reload faster and all the other advantages of the food consumable. Now, when you look at that shot, I only did 33 damage, and you have to ask yourself, is it really worth it to do only 33 damage per shot? I am a tier 9. You have to gauge the tank that you're shooting at. Do you think it has weak armor or not? And he is a higher tier than me. His armor is relatively strong. So obviously I'm going to do less damage. What do you think is going to happen here? If I want to save this guy, I got to really aim in very accurately and very closely, very carefully, because I could easily damage an ally. So you can see I was able to take out that that enemy tank, and my allies, you see he said thank you in the chat message. So he was happy that I was able to take that tank out. Very risky maneuver. You do have to make sure that you aim accurately. The aiming circle, or the ellipse in that case, your shot's going to land somewhere within that ellipse. So you want to make sure that your allied tanks are outside of that ellipse. And they won't get hit by the shot. That doesn't mean that they're not going to take damage from splash damage. Okay, so you can see I moved to a more northern position. I seem to recall that what I'm going to do is I'm going to watch the south. Me and the SPGs, we're going to be the last ones left in the game. So I don't want to get too close to him. I want to stay more in the south position. He's going to watch the north. So I'm only going to go so far north. I don't have a good spotting range, and I can only spot so far. But you got to do the best that you can. Now this is going to be very interesting. Watch what's going to happen here. We got to reset this cap. Watch what my allied artillery does, and watch what I do. I took a random shot and I missed. Now my allied artillery, he took a T-49, enemy T-49 out of the game. Now the IS-7, he's sitting on the cap, and you can guess where he's going to be on the cap, and that's where that IS-7 is. He's sitting right behind the rock. This is the point that I decided I was going to go and watch the south. I was going to go spot for the south and allow my ally. And you see, what he did was he just reset the cap shooting in that position. So I decided to do the same. And I also reset the cap. Unfortunately, there was another tank there, a bat chat. And I notified my ally that I hit that IS-7 at the same spot, give him a little bit of more additional information. But that's the game. It was a very interesting game, had some unique shots, a lot of positioning. If you have any questions or comments about this game, please post below. Let's move on to the next video. This tank is the FV-3805. This is a British Tier 9 SPG, and the map is Malinovka. This game is going to show you the results of having bad scouting. And bad scouting means, or bad spotting, being unable to spot the enemy team, and the impact that it has on your game. Winning the game usually means being able to spot the enemy and being able to shoot at them without being spotted. And if you can do that, you can win lots of games. Spotting is very important in the game. And unfortunately, SPGs have a very small spotting range, and they're unable to spot for themselves or to spot for the team. So I decided that I was going to take up this position because I wanted to be able to support my tanks on the hill, because this is an encounter game. You want to avoid hitting tanks on the frontal armor. When you have a choice, you want to aim for the side armor or the rear armor, obviously. Especially tank destroyers tend to be more heavily armored on the front. This is going to be a side armor hit. That was 234 damage. And I stunned both vehicles. They're not going to be able to side scrape in that position. Unfortunately, I misjudged that tank. I thought he was going to continue driving forward, but he reversed and he avoided my shot. The T-95, if you aim for the front of the tank, you're probably not going to do any damage. So you want to try and hit it on the side or at an angle. Another miss. When you stun an enemy tank, it reduces their spotting range, it reduces their load time, and it reduces their aiming ability. So it's very important to stun tanks, especially because you impact their reload time. Now that was a poorly aimed shot. I assumed that he was going to stop when he got to the red line. I was wrong. He kept on going. I didn't give enough lead time on my shot. Now you're going to see on the T-95, I'm probably not going to do any damage, even though I'm likely to hit him. Unless, well, maybe I will damage him. Nope. So if you're not going to do any damage, then it doesn't make sense to take the shot. Artillery used to do a lot of damage. You used to be able to do 1,000, 1,500 per shot. You used to be able to one-shot a lot of tanks, but it doesn't do that anymore. So you have to be a lot more careful. You have to be a lot more picky with your shots. You'll notice that I picked to aim at that rear corner. I did 145 damage. I picked the rear corner so that if he stops, I'll at least hit the tank. He's a slow-moving tank. So on a slow-moving tank, you want to aim for the edge of the tank in the direction that it's moving. That was not aimed well. I aimed for the center of the tank and it was moving forward. I should have aimed for the front of the track. But he was moving slow enough that it didn't make that much of a difference. In the case when you have three tanks that are close, you want to aim for the tank in the middle. If you go for the tank in the middle, you have an increased chance of damaging multiple tanks and of stunning multiple tanks. The score is 5-3. We're really closing in on the enemy. You'll notice that our two spotters, the AMX 1305 and the Batchat 12T, are not in good positions. They're too far away, and we really need them to spot the tanks on the hill. The STRV is a lightly armored tank, so it's a good choice for being hit by the artillery. Now the OHO is a good choice because it's a large tank. You're more likely to hit that tank. If you're a beginner, you want to aim for those large tanks. The score is 6-4. I got 1,155 damage. I haven't gotten a lot of stun damage, only 214. I am stunning the tanks, but my team is not hitting these tanks. And you can see our spotters are not really our light tanks are not doing a good job, and we really need them at this point. It's getting to be a critical point in the game. Score 6-7. You can see that our T-30 is being flanked. So I'm going to support my T-30. Unfortunately, now he's out of the game. Too little, too late. Prefer to hit the STRV Now we have one spotter, the AMX 13105, and he's retreating. He should be taking up a strong spotting position, but he isn't. Now I'm in a bad position because I could easily be spotted. Perhaps I am, I don't know. I don't think I'm spotted. I have 6 suns. He was probably aiming for the Yag Panther. Oh, you know what? He probably saw the tree fall down, which is why he shot at me. So now I have to fall back. You can see the J Panther is falling back. The more he falls back, the more I have to fall back because I'm not in a safe position. I cannot spot a tank coming at me from the front. And our spotter is not doing a good job. So we're going to have a really tough game here. The Udis has to also spot because he has the mobility and he's failing to do it. He's sitting up in a sniping position. This is going to be a hard tank to damage. Unfortunately, I missed. You can see that the enemy artillery is taking shots at me, so I have to keep on moving. Now he knows where I am, and I don't want to leave this position. So every time I fire, I'm going to reposition. You got to take that shot as quickly as possible before he disappears. The score is 9-9. That was 288 damage. I got 1,400 damage. You can see that our scout tank is too close to the Allies. He should be out there scouting for us. I'm going to take a chance at hitting that chariot. Now I'm taking blind shots because our scout is doing too little too late. There's very few enemy tanks. We know where 3 of them are. The other 2 are SPGs. What the scout should have done, he should have gone to hunt down the enemy SPGs. It would have been easy for him to do so. That is a tier 10 tank, and you would think that he's a good player. It's very easy for him to swing around and find those SPGs. Score is 10-11. If we lose that scout, we're going to lose this game. I had to take a blind shot on that T-28 to protect that scout, keep him in the game. And the T-28, I think the T-28 knows that that scout tank is there because the T-28 was pointing someone in that direction. Now I'm taking a blind shot, which I shouldn't have to be doing. It should be easy for my ally to go and spot tanks, and he's failing to do so. Score is 10-11. I'm asking the AMX to go scout. Unfortunately, one of our allies drowned. So I guess the AMX took a wild shot into the base and was able to reset the cap. And look what's going on over here. I want to help my ally. But the SPG was able to kill him. Okay, so now the score is 13-13. We have the advantage. We have a light tank against 2 SPGs. All he has to do is drive through into the enemy SPG territory and spot those tanks, and we should win this game. But look at what he's doing. For some reason, he's coming to where I am. It's a bad positioning for his tank. I'm moving forward to get closer to the enemy so that I get more accurate shots. I'm taking up this position over here. You want to be as close to the enemy as possible. It takes less time to aim. Your shots will be more accurate. Now we have 3 minutes and 40 seconds left. He has plenty of time to go through all that enemy territory and find those SPGs. Will he do it? It sounds like an easy task. He's heading in the right direction. But you'll notice that he's not really heading towards a corner right now. Okay, maybe he is. And then he stopped. For some reason he stopped. I don't know why he stopped. It's unlikely that he was spotted first. We're running low on time and he's not advancing. He's asking me to cap. And I should have gone to the cap a little bit earlier, but it's too late to cap. Unfortunately, because it's encounter mode, it's too late to cap. So the AMX is now doing nothing. He's just sitting there doing nothing. And by sitting there and doing nothing, he's absolutely not doing anything for our team. He should be he's got 2.5 minutes left to go out and scout that corner and to run up the side into the corner, the north corner, and he's just sitting there doing nothing. I am heading to the cap, but I do realize we're only going to win if both of us get on the cap. Now the AMX is starting to return perhaps to the cap, but it's really not the right move. He should have gone out and found those SPGs. He would have spotted them first. We would have taken them out easily. Now at this point, if he doesn't get on the cap right now, we're going to lose the game. Let's see if he makes it. You'll notice... Okay, we do have the ability to cap at this point. There's 1 minute and 20 seconds left on the cap timer. We have 10 seconds to spare. We got to kill 2 SPGs. And there's one behind us. He's outside of my spotting range, so the light tank was able to spot him. Let's see if we can kill him. I'm unable to hit him from where I am, and I have to move because I was spotted. You'll notice that the light tank was hit by an SPG, and then I was just hit by an SPG. So we both got hit 2 separate shots. So I was able to take one out of the game. We got 30 seconds left. You can see that I do blame the AMX 13105. He did a horrible job spotting. Now he's going out into that corner, but it's really too little too late. He has 20 seconds left to find the enemy tank, and I don't think he's going to do it. I know for a fact he's going to fail to do it. And that shows you poor scouting and the impact. We could have won this game. This tank is a GW Tiger P. This is a German Tier 8 SPG, and the map is Erlenberg. Now in this game, what's going to happen is watch the T-49. The T-49 is at the southernmost position. He's going through the F sector. He's approaching an AMX 1390. Watch what he does. Keep your eye on that mini-map. Notice that the T-49 is all the way in the south of the map, and he died. But what's important is that he did not spot any enemy tanks. That means that the enemy went to the east side. They lemminged to the east side. We have most of our tanks on the west side. But what's going to happen is the enemy is going to overrun our tanks on the east side. And I wanted to type a message. Normally I type a message saying we have too many on the west side. The enemy has lemming to the east side. You have to either reinforce the east side or you have to push south. on the west side. And I've done it before, and everybody always ignores you. It's rare that anybody's going to react, and I'm not saying that it hasn't happened before, but I was trying to decide how am I going to handle this situation. I want to line up my tank. I don't particularly like this tank. It's got a long reload. It's a slow tank, and I realize that we're going to get overrun. I'm going to have to reposition. And I talk about this strategy in previous videos. When the enemy overwhelmingly goes to one side, you have to take advantage of the side that they left undefended, and you have to advance as quickly as possible. You can see that the HWK-12 is starting to go south, and the T-34, and we're starting to get reinforcements, but it's going to be too little too late. Score 0-4. So I was spotted, and I'm trying to head back to the other side of the map for safety, and you can see that the enemy team is already overwhelming us on the east side. The score is 1-5. Now the proper thing to do in this case is for all of the sniping tanks to set up sniping positions. You want your allies to set up sniping positions. What they did is they started heading to the river. That's a mistake. They're going to go a little bit too far forward, such as the STRV S1 in the A6 area. He went too far forward. You want to have a group of tanks spotting the enemy advance and everyone else sniping from as far away as possible. I was too slow to react. I should have left more quickly, but I was thinking, okay, I'm going to go in, take my one shot, reposition. But unfortunately, because this is a slow SPG, I was too slow to react. But the reason why I wanted to show you this is because I wanted to show you that I made the wrong decision and my team made the wrong decision, and that caused the enemy to win this game because we didn't react properly. So again, if you identify that the enemy team is overwhelmingly on one side, you want to either reinforce that side immediately, which means everybody has to do it, or you want to push through to close up the southern flank and surround the enemy as quickly as possible, which we didn't do. So we did too little too late, and you want to set up the snipers. What's going to happen is they're going to advance, and they're going to pick off our snipers because our snipers don't have good sniping positions. Okay, let's move on to the next video.